Hello, and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have with us today Kenyan journalist Mutwiri Mutuota. Hello, Mutwiri. Lovely to see you, and a
Hello,
big
Anna.
thank you for joining us.
Good to see you again. How is everything?
Great. Mhm.
Yeah, you're
So,
also great.
Mutwiri,
Yes.
I know you were not able to travel to Eugene, but like me, you were staying up all night to watch the competition. And we were actually messaging a couple times in the early
Mhm.
morning hours. So tell me, what were your three favorite moments from those long nighttime vigils?
Well, the long night videos are worth it because there was drama right at the end, and there's so many highlight moments in that can fit a whole catalog. But if I was to take my top three, Amusan breaking the world 100 meters hurdles world record in the semifinals of the final day, and then to run faster, but of course to be denied by the wind reading or an indigo wind reading. It was just amazing. That was one single moment that will define Oregon 22. And then guess what? A few seconds later, we all live in a Mondo's world. They say that Duplantis, the very last event, very last everything, does a world record. Again, it's like he's defining poll voting, and you were to see one athlete actually dominate a sport like that and set standards by himself. Yes, we had the great we had the great, uh, voters in the
Okay.
past. But what Mondo Duplantis is, yeah, Bubka Saje, Bubka, thank you. And there's no taking anything away from Bubka. But what Mondo Duplantis is doing in as far as Provot is jumping is concerned, it's just amazing. If you realize that he's just only 22, so he can only get better, and it's scary to know where he can get. It's like he's in an own internal competition, and to dominate like that, that is what the greats in sport are made of. Favorite moment, of course, I'll have to go for Faith Kipyegon. Uh, Kenya did not have the best outing out there. Top in Africa since Osaka 2007. This time, of course, Ethiopia were the best country in Africa. But you knew even before the team went to Oregon that this is not going to be the Kenya that people are used to, because there are so many things that have happened. We've not had people coming through, and to see this 28-year-old come back to reclaim the title that she lost to Sifan Hassan, and not only just do it, but do it by obliterating quite a classy field was just amazing. Of course, there's so many other highlights from Eugene, but it was one of the good track and field events that I've watched in a long time. The lack of sleep was adequately compensated. We are still trying to get our clocks back to order, but those were my personal highlights from Oregon.
Thank you, Mutwiri. As you say, you can always depend on Faith Kipyegon. She's
Yes,
amazing. She always delivers.
yeah, and to think that she's at 28, she's a double Olympic champion, a double world champion, and the most amazing thing is that immediately after she got that goal, she came back to Kenya. She was training in Eldoret the following day. And last weekend, she was speaking to one of our reporters and saying that, yes, there's only one thing missing in her collection, the world record. And Monaco is coming up. So to retain such razor focus is it's very difficult to see it happening with an athlete. And that is why she's just special. And the fact that
Wow.
she comes to this country from this country is something we can be proud of. She's way up there with the likes of Eliud Kipchoge, David Rudisha, Kipchoge Keino, all those great athletes, and to be in such a list, it's just amazing. It's incredible. Some of the better athletes that we've had from this country have not managed to reach those heights. And remember, the time she lost to a silver. It's only the first time when she came out as a junior. I remember, I think it was in Moscow when she was supposed to come and have experience. That's the only time she finished outside the medal. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mutwiri. So let's quickly review results from the last 4 days of competition in Eugene from the 21st to the 24th of July, and we'll do it by groups of events. So starting with sprints, hurdles, and relays. So only two finals were scheduled on 21st July, and the men and women's 200 meters, but they were spectacular. And what a sight to see Jamaica's Shericka Jackson pulling away from the great Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price to take gold. Shericka was the fastest coming into the championship, and she delivered. 11:45 championship record, now only 0.11 from Flojo's world record. In the men's 200, it was a podium sweep for the US, with Noah Lyles clocking 19:31 area record, beating the 19:32, which was the world record time with which Michael Johnson won the Olympic Games in Atlanta. So great performance from Noah Lyles, followed on the podium by Kenny Bednarek and Arian Knighton. Now, the US had 4 athletes in the top spots in 2005, and possibly, had Fred Curley not been injured in the semifinal, they may have repeated it. But what I really love about this event is the variety behind them. In 4th place, Liberia's Joseph Fanbule. 5th, Dominican Republic's Alexander Ogando. 6th, Trinidad and Tobago, Jareem Richards. Of course, he's not new to finals. 7, Canada, Aaron Brown. And in 6th, South Africa's Luxolo Adams. So that was a cool race. US podium sweep, but a lot of interesting athletes from different countries behind them. 400 meters, Shawnee Miller-Weibo, 49:11, gold, followed by Marilady Paulino, again silver medalist from the Dominican Republic. And the novelty was Sada Williams of Barbados. So first women's medal for Barbados, and of course a Caribbean sweep. Among the men, Michael Norman took the win in 44:29 over Kirani James of Grenada. And I'm so happy to see Kirani doing so well in the Olympics, in the World Championships. He now has the full set of both Olympic and World Championship medals. So that was really cool. Anything you want to highlight, Mutwiri, about the races on the flat before we move to hurdles?
Yes, I would want to have some of those highlights because, like I said before, it was one of the championships that had so many great performances. It was not just about the medals, but there were great performances, like you cited there, Kirani James coming back to medal, and knowing that this is a guy who, since when he just came up with a shock gold, I think it was in. I don't know whether it was in Berlin or Daegu, one of the two, but since he came out there, yes, he has always been in and around there. And that consistency is amazing because you're counting, those are 11 years, it's a decade plus. But I was so happy for Canada, especially De Grasse. To see him come back there and get gold after all what he's been through, it was just another one of those melting moments that make you want to love the sport and actually want to watch it, because so much had been said about him, but he comes and anchors the Canadian team to the 4x1 relay gold. It was just top of the draw stuff.
Definitely. Now, you already spoke about your enthusiasm for Toby Amusan's world record in the 100 hurdles. That was really amazing. Toby has had a great year. She had already improved the area record. She improved it in the heats to 12:40, but then in the semis she was just flying. 12:12, that was really amazing. And yes, the wind was too strong in the final. It was plus 2.5 meters, but she again ran an amazing time of 12:06. So congratulations to Toby. And what about Sydney Mclaughlin? I mean, she's another amazing talent. And when people were saying in the first days, oh, there hasn't been a world record yet, I told them wait for Sydney because she was, and she was in great shape already in the few races that she contested this year. So she shattered her own world record, an amazing 50:68. First woman under 51 seconds. And she would have placed 7th in the 400-meter flat final. So totally amazing. Femke Bol, very good, again, 52:27. Dalila Mohammed, always there. Congratulations. But really, Mclaughlin is amazing. Her 4th world record in just under 13 months. That was really, really great.
We are living in an age where we have a group of athletes who have decided to push the boundaries as far as they can be pushed. Yes, people talk about shoes, people talk about so many things. But like I asked Eliud one day about shoes and all these things, people are saying they're aiding performance. He said, it's okay, you can have the shoe, but at the end of the day, the shoe does not run. It's you who runs at the end of the day. So there is so many people who are trying to sort of try to diminish what these athletes like Musan or Mclaughlin are doing, instead of just sitting down and enjoying this moment that you are actually lucky enough to be there to watch these things. Because as the world progresses, people are getting better at everything. Why not athletics? People will get better. They'll know how, for example, to handle the techniques. The people will know, people will analyze. And people nowadays know at least the sport. And it's amazing to see the kind of performances, especially in the hurdles. For quite a while, they were very overshadowed by the flat events, but this time everybody sat down and took notice. And let's see what is going to happen as we close out the season. We have Monaco, we have the Zurich and all that to come, and Brussels. So let's see, because I believe there's still a world record in there somewhere before the end of the season. And it could be from the usual suspects, Mclaughlin, it could be a Musan. I don't know whether she can do it in Birmingham, or maybe it could be, and it could be anybody. But I believe that before we close out the season, we are going to see maybe 1 or 2 new world records.
That would be amazing. Now, in both sprint relays, we had major surprises because the countries which had achieved medal sweeps, they did not win the gold. So in the women's relay, the US took the win in 41:14 over Jamaica in 41:18. And the difference was made by Abby Steiner in leg 2. She ran her leg in 9:86. While Elaine Thompson ran in 10:10. So Shelly-Ann and especially Sherika Jackson desperately tried to close the gap. They came close, but it was not enough. And as you anticipated, Andrei De Grasse, that was just so cool because he'd had a troubled year. He was injured. Then he caught COVID only 3 weeks before the World Championship. He was not brilliant in the 100 meters. He was struggling in both the heats and the semis. Then he pulled out. He did not start in the 200, but it was really good that he focused on the relay and he came back, and that was really amazing. I was so thrilled to see that. Canada's first relay gold since 1997. Of course, their dream team had also won it 2 years before. And I must say, it was a little bit hilarious after Noah Lyles had declared before the World Championship, when I'm in the relay, we ain't losing, point blank. And we might even break the world record, just saying.
Wow.
They fumbled a little bit again in the in 2 of the changeovers.
Yes,
So it just shows you can have the fastest athlete on the planet, but it's a team thing, the relay. It's about how everybody runs. It's about the changeovers. And yeah, I was really, really happy for Canada.
Yes, like you said, it's the relay. It's a team event, and we had no alliance and all that. The talking about we are not going to be beaten. But again, like all that has spent in the last few events, you see the changeovers in the team US have cost them a few medals at the Olympics. I remember the World Championship, the previous one in Doha. So it was just the story was yes, everything went upside down. We expected the Jamaicans to blow away the US in the women's in the relay, but then the second changeover, and then 986, the 1010, of course, the small margins. But the beauty about this competition was at least you got to see the team because people talk Team Jamaica, Team USA, Team whatever it is. But we got to actually see the team because the margins were so thin. I can't remember watching a really that where the margins were that close. I don't know whether it's because of this brilliant statistics board they have. You see actually how close these things came. And of course, we have to also give it to the Nigerian girls. They tried all the best.
No surprises, on the other hand, in the 4x400, as the US took both goals as expected. Now, let's move to middle long distances and race walks. So, 800-meter gold for a big smile on your face, Mutwiri, for Kenya's Emmanuel Korir, 143.71, ahead of Algeria's Jamel Sejati, 144.14, and Canada's Marco Arop. Now, Algeria has had some very good times all year on the 800. They had good results, but Emmanuel Korir was back. Tell us about that.
To understand Korir, you have to come to the Kenyan trials sometime in July. They are held on the 5th of this month, which was very late, considering that Oregon was about 1.5 weeks to go. But one thing that helped is that Paul Ereng, a certain gold medalist we know at the Olympics, is his coach. And they allowed him to travel with him to Oregon. So I was speaking to Paul and I was asking him, what about Emmanuel? He didn't have a very solid season. He had not even broken 145, and he's going to a championship. He's the Olympic champion. The Algerians are running very well. Europe was also coming under the radar. He told me, listen, this season it was all about that prize, the one prize. And this is what used to make us back in the day. We would look at now, to be a world champion, on a normal circumstance, you have a 2-year cycle. An Olympic champion, you have a 4-year cycle. So Ereng was telling me, look, it's important to win this world title because it will take another 2 years, of course, before Corona turned things around. And that is what he was looking for. So what Emmanuel did, he was not out there, but all the time he was getting ready because he knew that they are going to be these fast finishing Algerians. He knew there's the threat of Europe. So he just needed to conserve his energy for the final. Even when he went through the heats, there was nothing spectacular about him. He didn't even run the quickest time, but when it came, it mattered. And to see him running his season's best at the World Championship final, it also says something. Just saving the best for the time that it is most opportune and the most timely.
Definitely. Now, in the women's race, it was another battle between the U.S. Athing Mu, who prevailed in 156.30 over Britain's Keely Hodgkinson, 156.38, and Kenya's Mary Mora was third with 156.71.
Well, Athing was really pushed. In fact, with 30 meters to go, I thought she might just lose it because it was one of these races where you couldn't tell with 50 meters to go because it was more of a 100-meter finish than 800 meters. But it was great to see the two athletes, both 20, going they all started last year in Tokyo. Now it has gone to Oregon. We expect to see them next year, and then of course in Paris 2024. There's something developing here. Those kind of battles that you can always talk about that involve athletics. As for Mary Mora, something interesting. When you look at all the great 800-meter Kenya runners, from Pamela Jerimo, Mary Mora, David Rudisha, Emmanuel Korir, they all start in 400 meters, and then they step up the distance to 800. So this is the first season Mora is doing 800 meters. She has run a personal best here in Nairobi at the trials, something that was not expected. Of course, she had faith to push her Kipyegon because she has stepped down the distance to build her speed. And then to go out there and claim bronze, especially knowing that she's approaching what you'd call the peak time of her career. She's between 26, 27, 28. And to know that she's competing with these two 20-year-olds who've just going to own this discipline for quite a long time in the next foreseeable future, it was amazing to just come in there and hanging for the bronze.
Thank you, Mutwiri. Now, 5,000 meters, Jakob Ingebrigtsen was not happy to come second in the 1,500. So he took the gold this time over Kenya's Jacob Krop and Uganda's Oscar Chelimo. I was, however, most excited about Guatemala's Luis Grijalva, who finished fourth, the best ever placing for any Central American country at the World Championships. Luis arrived in the US as an illegal immigrant when he was 1 year old with his parents. He's now under DACA protection, so he can live and work in the US, but he still needs to request permission to travel abroad, and he needs to have a very special reason. And that can take 6 months. Luckily, sometimes they can speed it up. For the Olympics, he managed to get permission to travel in 1 month, but that was pretty amazing. And he was just so fresh and so enthusiastic that I really am. And I mean, I'd been following his results all year. He's been doing very, very well. Luis, he was already in Tokyo last year. So I'm very, very happy for Grijalva.
So to see what that guy did with all what that it goes around him, the fact that he needs special visas, he needs special documentation, it's just one of these stories that don't get told enough, because most people concentrate on the three medalists. It's a gold, it's a silver, it's a bronze. But the 5,000 meters race really also it's one of the other one that tore the script, because I was expecting this to be between the Ethiopian Olympic champion and of course Cheptegei. They were nowhere in the picture when it came to the medals. I mean, I think they might have finished 8-7 down the line. That was a surprise. The other surprise was the way Ingebrigtsen managed to time that. You know, it's like in 1,500, he had expected to come there as a given. But then he was reminded you have to work hard. And oh boy, did he work hard, because pulling off, especially the last 300 meters, watching him, he did a 55 something in the last lap, which was just crazy. After going for 11 and a half laps, you do a 55 last lap to close a 5,000 meter race. That has got a whole collection of East Africans in there. It was amazing. And of course, Krop to me is one of the revelations from Kenya. No one knew about him. No one expected him to pull that off. And to actually go there, having finished second in the trials when it was just his first occasion and also bagging silver, it was also something else. So we have this race that the top four also you can sit down and discuss things about them. Ingebrigtsen yes, he finally got the kick in the back he needed to show us what he can do as an athlete, because you cannot just accept to show up and then they give you the gold medal on your neck. Of course, silver, no one saw that coming. Even we did not see it coming. It's one of the races we have written off. Then the bronze. great story too. And then, of course, number 4. And then you see all the favorites are towing the field somewhere in there. And you have to go to the resource to see where they actually placed. And for me, I honestly thought this is going to be an Ethiopian affair. They're going to take those 5,000s, but I cannot even believe that the first Ethiopian crossed the line in 6th.
Now, you're right. It was a bit of a surprise not to see Ethiopia in the men's race, but of course, they were excellent in the women's race, with Gudaf Segai taking the gold over Kenya's Beatrice Chebet and another Ethiopian, David Seyaum. And of course, Gudaf had already won silver in the 1500. I was a bit surprised to see Letsenbet Gidey only 5th, because I thought she would do a little bit better, but still a great competition.
But since we first met her in Kampala 2017, where we were both there when she won the junior race, you knew she was one of these athletes who are going to stay there, put string careers like Mclaughlin Kamu before her. She didn't have the speed of the Tirunesh, maybe, but at least you could see a message Melkam in her or a Derato Tulu in her. And you know that when it comes to the longer distances, the 10,000 meters, and maybe in future should do very well in the marathon. But when it comes to 5,000, I think she lacks that bit of track speed that Segai has. Because finishing 1500 second in 1500 behind Kipyegon is nothing to be ashamed of, to be honest. Very few people can live with the final kick of Kipyegon to come and take silver behind her. And I think that for once Ethiopia showed us something. The team there is no I in the team. Yesterday they had a huge reception in Addis Ababa. Our reporter there sent us a story. It was just amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of fans at Bore Airport, and then they went to Messe Square, then they went to the presidential Paris. It was just crazy. It was like a whole holiday in Ethiopia. And they managed to get 4 gold medals. I can't remember the last time Ethiopia did 4 gold medals. I think it must have been during the days
First
of Kenenisa Bekele. Yeah, first time, yes. You can't remember when. So what's different this time? It's they were willing to work for each other. So you could see they sacrificed Letsenbet in the 5,000 meters because she can do very well in terms of spreading out the field. She has the stamina to run, and of course wear out or take the sting out of anybody's finish. Because of course they were looking at Sifan Hassan in there, so they had the power. She has the power to take the sting out of the finish, and then allow Segai, who is a faster track runner, to do the rest, and they deliver the gold. They did not do the 1 and 3 or the 1 and 2, but at least they got the most important one. And the 5,000 meters women shows you what Ethiopia has done. It's good that Derato Turu now is the president. She was speaking yesterday. I heard in the report that was sent from Addis Ababa, she was saying that we have decided this is not about I anymore. It is about the we. It's about the nation. And for them to be given $50,000 apiece for all the medals they have won, it was great from Addis Ababa. That's the report we received yesterday. So I think you're going to see a turn in what Ethiopia is going to be in the next few championships along the line, where they are deciding to work for each other and deliver the medals. You see how brilliant they are in the marathons. You could see how brilliant they are in the 5,000 meters. And I'm expecting that they are going to go up from there, because they have realized that, yes, you can sacrifice a world champion to make another world champion. I think that was a solid lesson we learned there from the 5,000 meters women's final.
Yeah, that's true. Now let's move to race walk, because arguably the female athlete of the championship was Peru's Kimberly Garcia, the only athlete to win 2 individual gold medals. So after winning the 20 kilometers on the first day of competition, she took the 35K, and Peru had never won gold at a senior world championship, and now they have 2, thanks to Kimberly Garcia. So congratulations. And the podium, interestingly, was the same as in the 20K, with Poland's Katarzyna Żdiebło in second and China's Pieyang Shijie in bronze. Among the men, it was Italy's Olympic 20K medalist Massimo Stano, who took 35-kilometer gold over Masatora Kawano, and Sweden's Perseus Karlström, who already had a medal in the 20K. Now, Stano had quite a maybe 4 meters lead in the final part of the race, but then he took off to the side to pick up the Italian flag from the spectators, and Kawano came charging back. He was only 1 second behind at the finish, but Stano knew what he was doing.
Yeah, this is the kind of entertainment, in as much as it's about sport, there's also the entertainment bit of it. Yes, there are the purists in athletics, for example, who not stand the antics, what they used to call Usain Bolt antics. There are some people, the purists, will also say what Stano did was a mark of disrespect. But come on, this is a world championship. You're representing your country. Somebody has made it to Oregon with the flag next to the finish, and the walk was held very early in the morning. So there's nothing wrong with just taking a slight detour and getting the flag and now crossing the line. He did it especially knowing that for Italy, we saw what happened to Marcel Jacobs. He got injured. Of course, that was not good thing for Team Italy. We also had the silver medalist in the high jump. So at least to get somebody to come and try to salvage what Italy did last year at the Olympics, because they had a brilliant Olympics, was wonderful to watch. And of course, what can you say about one athlete won 2 gold medals for Peru, the first ever. I have a few Peruvian. I have a friend who is married to a Peruvian, and he was calling me, telling me, "You see, we have won our gold, But and to get it from one athlete just tells you how special it is. Knowing that a country like Kenya that has been winning medals left, right, and center could only manage 2 gold medals at this championship. You could tell that she came here with a mission. So she has been one of the finds of Oregon 22. So you can always say now she has a target on her back. It's going to come very quickly, 2023, 2024. They're coming back to back. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does to stay on top. But I can tell you this is a generational athlete. Yes, she comes from one country that is not known or established having track and field excellence. But you can say this is generational talent when you see it, and she's going to be around for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move now to our final block of events, field and combined events. And of course, Mondo Duplantis, just amazing, 6:21 world record. Now that's worth 1,325 points. That's huge. So not only did he set the outright world record because he jumped 6 meters 20 indoors in Belgrade. That was the world record. But in clearing, in competition in Eugene, Duplantis has now chalked up 48 times in which he jumped 6 meters or over. That is absolutely huge. And he now has more jumps over 6 meters than the great Sergei Bubka. So Mondo now has 48 and Bubka has 46. They were, he was leading before. So really, congratulations, exceptional result from Mondo. And again, deepest pole vault competition in history. 7 athletes jumped 587 or higher, and 9 men cleared 580. So totally amazing. And of course, Mondo Duplantis, Chris Nielsen, and the Philippines' Ernest Obiena on the podium. And that was the first medal ever for the Philippines. And it was also the most diverse men's final. 7 different countries were in the top 8, and 4 continents were in the top 4. So I just love it, especially in a technical event, when you see so many different countries and different continents on top. It really is beautiful. The women's long jump, Germany's Malaika Mihambo, she had a scare because she had 2 fouls in her first attempts, but she was great at keeping her cool. And so she confirmed her Olympic gold, retains the world title with a best jump of 7 meters 12. Nigeria's Ezebrume, 7:02, which was really good on the same day that her great friend Tobia Musan set the world record. So that was also another great competition. And this was the most diverse final of all of them, because the top 8 countries, top 8 placing were all from different countries, and 5 continents in the top 5. So really amazing diversity in the women's long jump. In the triple, Pedro Pichardo, 1795. It was good to see him win again after Tokyo. Hugues Fabrice Zongo, silver in 1755, and China's Zhu Yanming in 3rd place. Also, quite diverse finals, 3 medals from different continents, 7 different countries in the top 8, and 5 continents in the top 7. So really congratulations to all the athletes there. Mutwiri, what do you wish to say about the jumps?
I mean, I can't remember the last time I enjoyed watching the jumps like the way I did this time, because the diversity of mentioned, it was good to see people winning medals, and the spread of medals now is not just a reserve of a few countries. Philippines getting bronze, you can imagine now there's going to be another thriller in Manila for the Filipino athletes getting bronze in the vote. But what stood out for me in the jumps is Duplantis. I mean, what is there to be said about him that has not been said already? You look at even from the photo, he's not the tallest of the vaulters. So the height advantage. So what he lacks maybe in that height, okay, it's not a short fellow, but if you look at his competitors, you'd expect that they will be, when they are trajected upwards, the height advantage will count. But I think his technique, he's come on with his technique. And I must have imagined when I was listening to the commentary, they were saying the great Sergei Bubka was there watching it, is that he's just watching somebody relegating him to second in all manners. And it can only get better from him. So I'm scared that where he can take this. Is he going to stretch this sport to a level where no one else will ever touch? Because you could feel that even when he did the 6-2-1, you could feel that there was something in there for him. Maybe they would have even adjusted the bar higher. So I think he's just spacing out his greatness. And to see an athlete space out his greatness, just like someone like Botinja, you space out your greatness over a period of time, it's just great to watch. And when you go for Picardo, I was very happy for Picardo. Personally, I was very happy for him. He's one of these athletes who brings it everything. He brings everything to when he's performing. He's a performer. He's just an athlete. He'll engage the crowd. He'll engage his fellow competitors. You'll find him, lying down, cheering. He's a performer. And of course, the women. I thought that, first of all, I thought Nigeria were going to win 2 gold medals on the final day from 2 great friends. It would have been such a fairy tale, when you write fairy tales, seeing that on the jumps, infield and outfield, you're having 2 Nigerians doing great things. But hey, you can never count out a champion, right?
Exactly. Right, so let's go quickly through the last group of events, the throws. Javelin, Anderson Peters of Grenada, he's had a fantastic season. He threw 90 meters 4 times in 4 events before Oregon, and again 90 meters 54, defending his title. So huge congratulations to him. And again, throwing 3 times over 90 meters in that competition. First time it happened at World Championships. India's Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra in silver, and Czech Republic's Jakub Vlajdec. Javelin women, Australia's Kelsey Lee Barber confirmed she defended her title with a winning throw of 66.91 over US Kara Winger and Japan's Haruka Kitaguchi. And that was great because it's the first medal for Japanese women outside marathon and 10,000 meters. So congratulations. Kitaguchi was already the first athlete from Japan to win a Diamond League event this year. So congratulations to her. Finally, in the decathlon, Kevin Mayer came back with a very strong second day to take the gold with 8,816 points over Canada's Pierce Lepage and the US Zachary Zemek. And of course, again, I was excited about a 4th place for Puerto Rico's Aidan Owens-Delerme, because he was really amazing. And he ran a sizzling 45.07 in the 400 meters. So congratulations. Unfortunately, Canada's Damien Warner pulled up injured in the 400 meters while he was in the lead. So that was sad to see Damien having to pull out. So Mutwiri and I have been giving our impressions about performances in Eugene, but let's hear how journalists, photographers, and officials from around the world have reacted to events in Oregon. So let's take a look. First, with such a successful championships for the US, we must give precedence to the host country. And here is what Track and Field News' Sig Lindstrom has to say about Oregon 22.
Thank you for having me on to comment. As an American, of course, I have to say that I'm extremely proud of the way that this championships came off. I've attended 17 World Championships since Rome 87. I've covered 16. And this one stands out in my memory, will stand out in my memory, along with some of the of course, my first Rome 87, Tokyo 91, where we had the brilliant Mike Powell world record that still stands. And then a typhoon drenched us all as we made our way back to our hotels. Berlin 2009, London 2017. Many stand out, but this one was very special for me. And it was so nice to have it on home soil finally. I can attest, knowing many, many friends that attended and having enjoyed digesting the meat afterwards over a meal, that it was thoroughly appreciated by the avid athletics fans of the U.S. that were lucky enough to attend. As for highlights, I'll give it a go here. Day 3. On day 3, at one point, we had 7 Americans circling the track, taking laps of honor with the sweep of the men's shot put with Ryan Krauser, Joe Kovacs, and Josh Awatunde. We had, of course, Katie Najat and Sandy Morris, 1-2 in the pole vault. And then we also had our fantastic hammer performance with Brooke Anderson, of course, took gold, making for the second U.S. win in the women's hammer at a World Championships after Doha, and Janae Casanavoid taking the bronze medal. That was kind of special, I know, for fans. Number 2, the women's sprints. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, but just in the 100. What a thing to watch. That was such a race. And then Sharika Jackson in the 200, almost catching that world record. But wow, did we have a response from the U.S. women in the 4x100 meter relay on day 9, when Jenna Prandini actually took down Shelly-Ann around the curve in a brilliant run, and then T.T. Terry brought it home, 4 100s in front of Sharika Jackson, and that, I think for the home fans, that was something to see. And finally, let me say, that final day, day 10, Tobi Amasan, in the first running event of the evening, an unbelievable world record. I mean, we looked at the clock, could not fathom that number. 12:12? I mean, 12:20 was crazy enough. But 12:12, that time was legit. And then to have her come back, Toby comes back in the final and runs 12:06 windy. Just absolutely mind-boggling. And then, of course, to close out the night, Mondo Duplantis's world record in the pole vault, followed by that brilliant forward handspring down the back straight. Unbelievable. And what a coda on the evening. And a wonderful, wonderful World Championships. So the fans were absolutely bowled over, I would say. The atmosphere was electric. And this will stand out in my memory as one of the finest World Championships that I have ever seen and that the sport has ever seen. That was my American perspective, but I also have a quasi-Swedish perspective. My 87-year-old mother was born in Stockholm and remains a Swedish citizen to this day. So I was pleased when walking down the tree-lined streets of Eugene one morning. It was the day after the discus. I encountered Daniel Stoll and Simon Pettersson, the fourth and fifth place finishers in discus. It did not match their gold and silver medal performance from Tokyo, but I could not resist asking for a photo with them. We journalists don't normally do this, but this was in a casual situation, and so I indulged myself. And you know what? Those guys are big, and next to them, I am very small.
Amazing championships for the U.S. Cuban-Canadian journalist Javier Clavelo talks about one of the major upsets of the World Championships, Canada's sprint relay defeating favorites U.S. team.
Thank you, Anna. What a historic goal for Team Canada on this magic Saturday at Hayward Field. The men's 4x100 meter relay, exact same quartet that claimed silver a year ago at the Tokyo Olympics. Aaron Brown, the lead-off athlete, followed by Jerome Blake, Brendan running the curve, and of course as the anchor, Andrei De Grasse. It feels really special for that team, coached by Glenroy Gilbert. Again, he was also part of that generation golden at the 96 Olympics, at the 97 World Championships, the last time Canada clinched gold in the men's 4x1 relay. And it felt really special primarily because of the proximity of Hayward Field, Eugene, Oregon to Canada. There were a lot of Canadian fans. It was a really loud crowd, even to the point where really all the Canadian fans started to sing the national anthem as they embraced their newly crowned world champions. It was really special for this team, primarily because individually they couldn't quite deliver the way they wanted. So it really felt like a really great end to the championships for all these four athletes. Some of the reasons that they said during, in a change in presser is the ability that obviously Andrei De Grasse had a lot of races. The 200 meter Olympic champion did not run that event, so he felt like he had fresher legs, and they really did it for their coach Glenroy Gilbert. Due to health reasons, he could not be at the stadium, but they had a lot of confidence in themselves. They do great work leading up to these championships. Clean exchanges, and they finally were rewarded with a world leading time as well as a Canadian and national record. Obviously, a great, sweet victory for Team Canada as the championship wraps up Sunday. I hope this is a good opportunity for the team to show what they're capable of for the remainder of the Olympic cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Now, as we saw, Ethiopia had their most successful championships, and Haile እግዚአብሔር Adhanom talks about Ethiopian success in Eugene.
Hi, Anna. Hello, Love Athletics viewers. Thank you so much for having me once again. The 2022 World Championships has brought so many success to Ethiopia, and it's it's the best championships that we ever had in the whole history of our participation in the championship, because we managed to get 4 gold medals, for silver and 2 bronze medals. That's statistically the number one result that we ever registered. So as you can see, the diversity of events and disciplines and number of athletes that have won medals show that Ethiopian athletics is currently doing very well, and the athletes are performing as they are expected to do. Historically, Ethiopia is one of the best athletics countries. So just to go deep down to the individual event that strikes me the most, it's Letsambat Kade's 10,000 meter. After her nail-biting fighting with Helen Obiri, the 2 marathon gold medals with the championship records, and even the 5,000 meter Buddha victory, where we see Ethiopia's the teamwork, the Ethiopian athletes teamwork. It all came, and bring the joy to the nation that really in need of this kind of atmosphere. So this championship brought a lot of success to Ethiopia, and everybody back home and here in the camp are very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haile Zabher. Indeed, it was the best result for Ethiopia at the World Championships. And as Mutwiri already told us, the country's athletes received a hero's welcome upon returning to Addis, and they were also received by the country's president. A wonderful hero's parade for the athletes. And a reception with the country's president. They definitely deserved it. Grenadian former journalist Michael Bascombe speaks about the country's repeat world champion, Anderson Peters.
Anderson Peters' successful defense of his world title is a chilling reminder that the size of islands, it doesn't really matter, because there are probably 100,000 Grenadians, including Anderson Peters, who are beaming with joy and jubilation following his victory in the men's javelin at the World Athletics Championships in Eugene, Oregon on Saturday night. It was evident by the buzz on social media with many congratulatory messages from Grenada and, other places, congratulating Anderson and extending that sort of congratulations to the world champion. This certainly means a lot to the island. It means a lot, not just to Anderson, but also to the young track and field athletes, to the young javelin throwers in particular, because Anderson Peters is a homegrown talent. And he also has a local coach, who has been able, to coach Anderson and to win back-to-back world titles. It certainly means a lot to the small island of Grenada. But, his coach, Paul Phillip, who, by the way, has coached many young javelin throwers to win medals at the Carifta Games, which is the junior track and field championships in the Caribbean. He's already speaking about setting up a throws academy in Grenada, where not just throwers in Grenada, but also in the Caribbean can come to that academy and train and also compete. Well, compete because even Anderson Peters, he lacks high-level competition in the Caribbean. Therefore, he spends considerable time in Europe competing. Even though he trains in Grenada, he goes to Europe to compete. But without taking away anything from Anderson's achievement, and by the way, Kirani James's silver medal in the men's 400 meters, I believe that Anderson Peters, as it is now, is probably one of the most popular Grenadians.
Thank you, Michael. And of course, a delighted Nigerian journalist, Yemi Olus Galadima, talks about one of the 3 athletes to set world records in Eugene, and that is hurdler Toby Amusan.
June 24th, 2022 is one day Nigerians will not forget in a hurry because it was the day our country produced a world record holder and a world champion in track and field. Prior to that date, Nigeria had never produced a world record holder in athletics. In the past, we've had some people break world records in an event like powerlifting. We've had Nigerian athletes break world records in that event, but in track and field, this was our first. And I mean, it just sent a lot of Nigerians into a frenzy because this had never happened to us before. Going into the semi-finals, and Toby looked in form because, of course, in the heats, she had clocked the fastest time in a heat, 12.40. And so she looked very good for a medal. But going into that semi-final race and seeing how she executed that race, I mean, we're just waiting to see what the time was going to be by the time she crossed the line. But nobody was ready, to see 12.12 seconds. That's massive. At first, I was just waiting to see what the wind reading would be for that time, because I was like, wow, can this really be true? But of course, it turned out to be true. We actually had a world record holder, and then of course she went on to win gold, because again, the fear was that after setting a world record in the semis, would she be able to keep her composure and then execute the final in a way that she'll be able to win gold, But thankfully she did that, because she still looked really good in that final. And of course she stormed to gold, so making history for Nigeria. For the first time in the history of the World Championships, the Nigerian anthem was played, and it was such an emotional moment. For many Nigerians who got to watch Toby on the podium, I mean, a lot of us shed tears because it was so surreal. And even seeing her herself, the way she actually cried while on the podium listening to the Nigerian anthem, it was a very memorable day for Nigerians. We still can't get over it. We've still not gotten over it. And I think for the next 2 or 3 days after that, Toby was the number 1 trending topic on Nigerian Twitter. Like everybody, including our president, presidential candidates, because we're going into an election season now, presidential candidates, our president, senators, everyone has been calling Toby, everyone has been congratulating her. And I mean, it's inspired a lot of hope for our nation and even in our athletes too, because they see that nothing is impossible. And then of course her good friend Ese Brume also won a silver medal that day. The first time since 2013 that Nigeria is winning 2 medals at the same competition. The last person who did that was Blessing Okagbare in 2013 in Moscow. So the final day of the World Championships in Oregon was a very good day for Nigeria. We can't forget that day in a hurry. Toby Amuson winning gold and Ese Brume winning silver. Massive, massive, massive. We can't get over it.
Thank you, Yemi. Italy's Olympic and double race walk world champion, Maurizio da Milano, talks about the race walking events in Eugene, and in particular, the gold obtained in the 35K by Massimo Stano.
Campionati mondiali di Eugene faceva il suo esordio a 35 km di marcia ed è stata una conferma a livello maschile per Massimo Stano, vincitore a Tokyo della 20 km battendo i giapponesi e riconfermando a Eugene la vittoria proprio su un giapponese, con il 3° posto andato allo svedese, che conferma la medaglia vinta anche sui 20 km di marcia. La vittoria di Stano è una vittoria dal valore importantissimo, sappiamo benissimo come non sia facile ripetersi a livello di un anno di distanza tra Olimpiadi e campionati del mondo, e su 48 vincitori di titoli a Tokyo solamente 17 hanno riconfermato a Eugene il titolo conquistato un anno prima. La gara è stata emozionante, una gara che ha evidenziato la potenzialità e il valore della 35 km di marcia, una gara che sostituisce la tipica e tradizionale 50 km, che nel cuore di tutti gli appassionati rimane comunque un riferimento, con l'augurio che possa tornare nei programmi olimpici, perché è veramente l'espressione della resistenza, ma la 35 km ha sicuramente indicato una strada importante, una gara sia nel maschile che nel femminile che si è sviluppata con forza e ha dato veramente il segnale di essere una gara dalle grandi potenzialità sia emozionali per il pubblico sia di qualità tecnica per quanto riguarda il programma dell'atletica. Tornando a Massimo Stano, poliziotto che è allenato a Roma da Patrizio Parcesepe, questa conferma accresce il valore della marcia italiana, ancora una volta un titolo andato al nostro paese e un titolo importante. Una chicca su tutte: Massimo Stano vince il 24 luglio del 2022 la sua 35 km, esattamente lo stesso giorno in cui io vinsi, 24 luglio 1980, la 20 km alle Olimpiadi di Mosca. Una coincidenza, ma anche un segno della continuità dei risultati della marcia italiana a livello mondiale. Dicevo di Stano che negli ultimi 3 anni ha evidenziato una crescita importante, scendendo sotto l'ora 18 nei 20 km, vincendo il titolo poi alle Olimpiadi di Tokyo 2020, ma anche se svolte nel 2021, e la conferma sui 35 km dei campionati d'Europa, campionati del mondo di Eugene. Seguiranno i campionati d'Europa tra poche settimane e anche lì la chance di Stano sui 20 km sarà sicuramente molto, molto grande. La marcia ha in questa edizione dei campionati mondiali di Eugene saputo evidenziare sia la tradizione che la novità. La 20 km femminile e la 35 km femminili sono andati all'atleta peruviana che per la prima volta porta il suo paese sul gradino del podio, il podio più alto di una manifestazione di atletica. Anche qui un segnale importante di come la globalità della presenza della marcia nel mondo dell'atletica sia sempre più forte, sempre più evidente e rappresenti anche il segno di una specialità che forse più di tante altre dell'atletica è vicina alla quotidianità della gente, perché la sua radice sta proprio nel camminare, l'esercizio fisico più praticato dalle persone e più vicino proprio alle esigenze di benessere e di qualità di vita della gente.
Grazie Maurizio. Da Milano, who won his 1980 Olympic title on the same day, 24 July, as Massimo Stano took gold in Eugene, points out how difficult it is to remain at the top with and how only about a third of the Tokyo champions confirmed their titles in Eugene. He praises the successful debut of the 35K, but hopes for a return to the traditional 50K, which truly symbolizes the human resilience. Maurizio also highlights the double gold in the women's event by Kimberly Garcia, pointing out how race walking is among the most global and diverse events in athletics. And he says it's also closer to the life of ordinary people, as its roots are in walking, the basic and most practiced sporting activity. And finally, Peruvian journalist Daisy Zereceda talks about the most successful athlete in Oregon 22, Kimberly Garcia, the only athlete to win 2 individual golds.
Hola amigos de Love Athletics, hola Ana, ¿qué tal? Aquí los peruanos después del Mundial de Oregon felices. Kimberly García, nuestra marchista, ha hecho historia. Es la primera deportista peruana, no solo atletismo, deportista en el Perú que gana 2 medallas de oro en un mundial. Realmente Kimberly es el orgullo nacional. Justo ayer ha sido el Día de Perú, el 28 de julio, y la han festejado y ella ha dado el mejor regalo que ha podido a todos los peruanos. Y como le dijo la misma Kimberly en la meta, este triunfo es para los peruanos. A pesar de que no la han apoyado como un atleta de ese nivel se merece, pero yo creo que ahora ella marca un antes y un después en la marcha y en el atletismo, de todas maneras. Kimberly ganó los 20 kilómetros y los 35 kilómetros marcha, batiendo récord nacional, sudamericano, en 35 haciendo marca mundial, o sea, del campeonato. En Perú ha sido recibida como se merece, como una heroína. El mismo presidente de la República la recibió, han puesto los laureles deportivos, que es el nombre de ella, con el laurel deportivo en el Estadio Nacional. Le han dado un incentivo económico de unos $30,000 y ha estado con su entrenador, con Andrés Chocho, en todo momento. Y por lo que sabemos del mundo del atletismo, va a pedir un programa especial para marcha, que ya hace tiempo se merece la marcha. Un programa especial para que no tengan limitación de dónde poder entrenar, de ir a competir a los circuitos que hay en Europa, donde están los mejores marchistas del mundo. Ya Kimberly ha marcado ese camino, y yo creo que ahora es el momento de aprovecharlo, ya que todas las autoridades y todo el pueblo están agradecidos y orgullosos de lo que ella ha hecho. Es un mundial histórico, hemos figurado en el medallero. Realmente Kimberly, como lo comentamos Ana antes del mundial, ganó no solo una sino 2 medallas. Y ahora, ¿qué se viene para ella? Yo conversé con ella cuando estuve en Oregón. Ella estaba feliz, me dice, yo no pensé que ella ni en su sueño, dijo, capaz puedo en 35 ser podium, pero con las 2 de oro me dijo, esto es mi sueño, mi objetivo, y ahora tengo un reto grande. Ahora en octubre se vienen los Juegos Odesur, que está analizando con su entrenador si los hace, pero el próximo año tiene los Juegos Panamericanos, que son en Santiago, tiene el Mundial el próximo año, pero el objetivo de Kimberly son los Juegos Olímpicos en París 2024. Entonces están armando con Andrés Chocho, su entrenador, un plan para llegar a París 2024 de la mejor forma, y en el camino a ver qué competencias va a realizar, va a ser, ¿no?, nuestra medallista mundial. Le deseamos el mejor de los éxitos. Ahora un merecido descanso se va a tomar, dice 4 semanas de un merecido descanso con su familia. Y para repensar, porque ahora todo el mundo la llama para entrevistas, realmente quieren, y el pueblo quiere demostrarle su agradecimiento por lo que nos hizo vivir en Oregón. Bueno, y así me despido con estas noticias. Ya hablaremos si va o no a Oregón, ya después les contaré cuando estemos más cerca de octubre. Un placer haber conversado con ustedes de este orgullo peruano que es Kimberly García en marcha. Saludos.
Muchas gracias, Daisy. Daisy points out how it is the first time in any sport that Peru has come back from a major championship with 2 gold medals. Garcia also received a hero's welcome, as well as the assurance that the authorities would now support her, including with a program for race walking to ensure that the country's athletes can take part in the top competitions in Europe. Kimberly will now decide her competition program with coach Andrés Chocho, as the Odesur Games will be held towards the end of the year. Then in 2023, Pan Am Games and World Championships take place. But Kimberly's main goal are the Paris 2024 Olympics. But the immediate plan is to take 4 weeks of rest, and she deserves it after her triumphs in Eugene. We also have a video recorded with Kimberly Garcia after her second gold in the mixed zone.
Kimberly García León, 2 medallas de oro, algo histórico en la marcha femenina internacional. ¿Cómo te has visto en esta prueba de los 35 kilómetros? ¿Qué diferencias ha habido? ¿Si ha habido alguna con respecto a los 20? Porque creo que la táctica ha sido muy parecida, estar tirando desde el principio y demostrar que eres la más fuerte ahora mismo.
Sí, bueno, los 35 son mucho más resistentes. Durante el transcurso de la carrera, de hecho, que te aparecen dolores. A mí me dolía una pierna después de la otra, entonces es algo normal, ¿no? Igual tienes que estar también súper al tanto de tu hidratación, de tu gel y todo eso para que no pase factura durante el recorrido. Y bueno, es más resistencia. Al principio sí me gustaba un poco más, pero ahora tanto el 20 como el 35 pues me encanta.
¿En qué momento de la prueba has visto que ibas a ser nuevamente campeona del mundo?
Faltando 5 kilómetros dije, creo que ya lo hice otra vez.
Y cuando llegaste aquí a Eugene, ¿soñabas con ganar las dos pruebas? ¿Veías posible estas dos medallas de oro?
Para ser sincera, mirábamos más posibilidades en los 35, pero tampoco ganar la de oro, ¿no? Sino estar entre de repente plata y bronce, y en los 20 kilómetros pues pelear por la medalla de bronce. Y bueno, obviamente uno no se pone limitaciones, uno va siempre con las ganas de querer ganar, de dar lo mejor, y así es como yo salgo siempre en cada competencia, ¿no?
¿Y qué ha habido de diferente este año para que seas tan superior a las demás? ¿Qué ha habido diferente en tus entrenamientos, en tu preparación, para que hayas tenido esta progresión tan espectacular?
Yo creo que he estado en buenas manos con mi entrenador Andrés, un entrenador de talla mundial que también ha tenido resultados con la anterior atleta Erika de Brasil. Entonces, estar al mando de él, yo creo que tanto él como yo también, que soy bastante empeñosa en mis entrenamientos y todo, ambos hemos logrado algo grande, ¿no?
Felicidades.
So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. Oregon 22 protagonists will have had 1 week to recover before top action starts again at the beginning of July, starting with age category competitions. So the European Youth Olympic Festival is underway in Banska Bystrica in Slovakia. World Under-20 Championships start in Cali, Colombia on the 1st of August, and on the 2nd, Commonwealth Games start in Birmingham. Then Diamond League resumes with the Kamila Skolimowska Memorial in Chorzów, Poland on 6th July. Now, Mutwiri, I don't know about you, but I always feel sad when a major event comes to a close. The good thing for us fans and athletics lovers is that there are more great competitions to look forward to very soon.
Yes, of course, even right now as we speak, we are still having the Eugene hangover. We have not yet come to terms with the fact that what had become routine like 10 days is no longer happening. But yes, we have got great things to look out for, especially I'm going to follow Kali World Under 20 because that is where we expect to see maybe a third or maybe just slightly less than a third of the medalists in Paris 2024 will be competing in there. Because as you have seen, if we have to run any lessons from Oregon is that people who are under 20 in the last 3 or 4 seasons are now the ones who are taking center stage when it comes to this major championship. And also in the Commonwealth Games for South African shot put thrower, Berdejak, he's only 20. He won the World Under 20 title when it was held here in Nairobi. He's now in the Commonwealth Games and he's one of the future. He's from South Africa, very massive 20-year-old in the shot put, keeping an eye on that. And of course, you have the Diamond League coming in. So there's so much to watch out for in the next few weeks as the summer comes to a close. And we take a break, waiting now for our next season.
Thank you, Mutwiri, definitely. So we're now at the end of our program. It was great having Mutwiri with us on the show.
Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful for you hosting me once again.
It's always good fun. Thank you all for watching, and see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the last week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao, Mutwiri.